Hi everybody, this is Rune. Welcome to this tutorial where we're going to have a first look at Rhino. Rhino might be quite a daunting software to begin with, and it looks really complicated. But in this video I'm going to break it down to you so you understand what everything you see on screen is. First things first, we're going to have a look at all the buttons. So if you used Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator, it might be familiar to you to have a collection of tools that you can click on to do something in the program, to draw something. And in Rhino, it's kind of the same thing. All these buttons here, they represent an action that we can take, a command in Rhino terms. For instance, this one is a single point. And if I click it and go here, then you can see I can place a single point by clicking. Very easy. So I'm just going to click here and press delete. As we progress in our Rhino learning curve, we're going to be typing a lot of our commands. And we type our commands in this area up here, the command line. Before, I just clicked this button to create a point. But I can also do that by typing point in the command line. So I'll type point and enter. And you see it's exactly the same thing as if I'd pressed the button over here. It asks me to place a point in my file. So I'm just going to click that and press delete again. So say I want to make a line. I just write L-I-N-E, line, enter, and then I can click two places to create a line. This place where I'm drawing my line, it's called the viewport. And right now, as a standard, when I open up Rhino, I actually have 4 viewports open. You can see this one, this one, this one, this one. And these represent different ways of looking at my model, at my drawing. This one, as it says here, is top view. So I'm actually looking down towards my model and drawing in 2D. And you can see that this is also shown by these axes here. So Y is up and X is to the right. So basically this is like drawing on a flat piece of paper if I draw in the top view. And I see everything flat. If I just click my line and highlight it, you can see that it also shows up in perspective. But here the line is kind of crooked or slanted. And that's because I'm looking at it from a perspective view. So these axes that I have, the Y-axis and the X-axis, they're now lying flat on this plane here. The same thing actually goes for these two down here. Like I'm looking at my line from the side, or rather from the front. So if you imagine it, I'm looking at it from here. And this one is interesting because it actually just shows a little point. And that's because I'm looking at my line from this direction, from the right side. What I like to do is not looking at the model from 4 angles at the same time, but just rather looking at it from one side. So let's see, I want to look at it from a 3D point of view. So I'm going to go to my perspective viewport and I'm going to double click. And then I get to just maximize this viewport and not look at the other ones. If I want to go back, I could always double click again so I can maximize whatever viewport I want to. Now I want to draw something in 3D because we're in the perspective viewport, the 3D viewport. So I'm going to click on the icon called box here, and I'm going to follow the command prompts up in the command line. So it says first corner of base. I'm just going to click anywhere in my viewport. Then it says other corner of base. So I'm clicking where I want the other corner to be. And then it says height. So I'm clicking so I can see how high my box is. This is a 3D object now, this box. But it's a little funny to look at because, as you can see, I'm kind of looking through it. I can see the far corner of the box, the far side of the box. If I want to see it in a 3D view, that's a little easier to understand. Then I can go up here where it says perspective, and I can click on the little arrow. And then right now we're looking at our model in a wireframe view. That's Rhino lingo for just looking at the lines that describe objects. But we actually want to see the surfaces. So I'm going to go in here and click shaded. And you can see what happened here is that Rhino is showing us a representation of how the box looks in 3D. The last thing I just want to touch on is this panel over here. you can see that it says properties, and right now I have nothing selected. So it's actually just showing me the properties of my viewport. If I click on my box, then it's showing me the properties of the object. We're not going to have a look at all of these tabs now. I'm going to introduce them in due time. Follow along in the next tutorial where we're going to have a look at navigation and how to walk around our 3D model. Thanks for watching. Bye.